Ocean X. I couldn't believe it. My 7 years at this agency brought me face to face with a discovery that was beyond my wildest dreams, and I was at the center of it. An eighth sea, incredible, hidden from the observable eye, deep within the Earth's crust. The species we were finding down there were pure nightmare fuel. Things that we believed to be extinct, the Megalodon, Helicoprion, Basilosaurus, Dunkleosteus, were all residing comfortably inside of Ocean X. The list went on so long it was hard to believe. I was reading off species being documented as living. My senior agent, Thomas, walked in the room as I was knee-deep in the fresh documents of our new discoveries. "Jackson, you won't have to stare at those ridiculous names much longer. We have a crew extracting one of each major species and bringing them back to the base for the next phase of the operation." I was as terrified as I was excited. "My God, do you really think that's safe, Agent Thomas?" He gave me a look of certainty as he said, "We're much safer conducting our project here than we would be down there. Don't worry, we'll extract the DNA we need for the synthetic embryos, and once successful, we'll send them back down to Ocean X." As I walked into the facility the next day, it felt surreal. Massive containment units holding creatures I've only seen in movies. I spent the next 3 weeks taking DNA samples and sequencing synthetic embryos to no avail. Until finally, the sequences were working. We were successfully conceiving embryonic samples of these leviathans. We repeated the process until we had hundreds of eggs, dozens per species. After we finished placing them into these incubating crates, it was nobody's responsibility but mine to find a proper place to store them. Out of arrogance and fatigue, I placed them by the only open space in the facility, near a loading bay, where we would sometimes, but rarely, have trucks come in to pick up outgoing cargo. Probably no pickups anytime soon. Of course, I thought, I'll just leave them there overnight and deal with it in the morning. We were a small private corporation, contracted under an intelligence agency, but on a very tight budget and limited salaries. We needed to have these kind of side businesses to generate extra cash flow. There was a fishing company called Pacific Maritime Resources. We had a deal worked out with them in which we'd create and sell them very unique fishing bait, which we'd construct out of ailments from our undocumented species. This special bait would give them a massive advantage during their company's fishing hauls, so we'd sell it to them by the truckload. Our bait manufacturing and inventory was handled by a separate team. I didn't know the exact schedule for outgoing pickups, but we just had a pickup the day prior, and they never happened consecutively, which was the only reason I left these crates, full of prehistoric embryos, in the loading bay area overnight, with confidence. A confidence that morphed into gut-wrenching fear as I walked into the facility the following morning and found the loading bay floor completely empty. The crates were nowhere to be seen. Maybe Thomas moved them, I thought to myself as I tried to ease my nerves. The anxiety drove me straight into the bait inventory room, where I'd confronted the team leader, Michael Donovan. Through the tension in my throat, I asked, "Mike, we didn't have any pickups from Maritime this morning, did we?" "We sure did, Jackson. They left about 2 hours ago with the cargo that was on the floor space." His response sent shivers down my spine. "Good God, Mike," I said. "Those crates on the floor weren't bait." He raised a brow of confusion and said to me, "Weren't they? I walked out to the loading deck last night. When I saw all the crates, I figured the team already pushed and I sent the crew home." "I'm sorry, Jackson, but the loading bay shouldn't be used for storage. It's cargo only. I know we don't usually have such a high volume of pickups, but they've been ordering more frequently as of late." My eyes widened. He has no idea the capacity of this mistake, but it wasn't his fault. I quickly rushed down a corridor toward the sales office and grabbed a hold of the phone to call Maritime and get a hold of the situation, but they had already left a voicemail. I played it back, trembling in fear as I listened to the message as follows. "Hey Mike, PMR calling. Just wanted to let you know there was an issue with the cargo. I think we may have picked up the wrong shipment. When our crew dropped the crates down into the water, they said there was no bait released, just dozens of these strange eggs got dropped out of them. Do give me a call back when you can. My stomach was on the floor, a nightmare had unfolded, and the blood was on my hands. Hundreds of prehistoric embryos dumped into the abyss of the Pacific Ocean.